Well, welcome everybody back to the Tim Rumler podcast. Today, I have the sincere pleasure of having John Lum, broker with Exit Realty Home Partners right here in Lansing, join us. Talk a little bit about the market of real estate, how John got into real estate himself, and how the fairly new brokerage is going right here in Grand Legend in the city of Lansing. John, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you having me on your show today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, John, full transparency to the audience. You are my broker. I came to work at Exit this summer and fully have enjoyed being on at the brokerage there. It's a great team. It's a great brokerage to work for. So thank you. But again, clear transparency to the audience joining us. What I would like to do is just dive right into it if we could, if you're willing.
Absolutely.
All right. Tell us a little bit about where John Lum grew up, your early family years, siblings, family, what your parents did, and kind of set us up for that, if you wouldn't mind.
All right. Well, yeah, I was actually born and raised right here in Lansing on the east side. And I attended both the parochial schools, Resurrection, growing up, and then I went to Pattongill and Lansing Eastern High School.
Mhm.
Graduated in 1995, so proud Quaker graduate there from Eastern. And after high school, I went into the automotive industry. Back then, there was a school called GMI, General Motors Institute, which is now Kettering University. And they had the structure of that program is a co-op program. So you work in with your sponsor company,
Yep.
and then you go to school and you alternate that so that you have some of that real world experience. And I was a electrical engineering major, and I had started at a metal stamping facility here in Lansing called TrueMark
Mhm.
when I was 17 years old, a week out after graduating. Um, I really liked the company and loved what I did, but I didn't love school, so I then departed from GMI and decided to work full time in the automotive industry. Eventually, I worked for Kramer Air Tool, where I designed electrical control circuits for automated machine tools, and I had a great experience there. Um, my parents growing up, my dad was a police officer for the city of East Lansing for 33 years. And my mother sold Mary Kay, gave her the flexibility to be able to raise four of us kids. And I have one older brother and a younger sister. And then the youngest is, I have a younger brother as well. So there's four of us in the family, and we actually all still live in Lansing on the east side. I had lived elsewhere for a number of years, but relocated back here when I was starting my family. And now between the myself and my two of my siblings are married with children, and we have 11 of us that all, or 11 cousins now that all are able to grow up around each other. And my parents actually still live in the neighborhood, and I convinced my mother-in-law to even move into the neighborhood as well. So we've
Awesome.
got a lot of family support here. I've always had that mentality that it takes a village to raise a child, and it's working out really well relocating back here to the region.
Beautiful. Awesome. Good for you. Well, okay. So early years, you decided school wasn't for you. You got into some other professions. How did you get into real estate, John?
Well, I actually took one more direction before entering into real estate.
Mhm.
So during the late 90s, when I was in the automotive industry, was the big dot-com era, and all the engineers loved to talk about their stock portfolios every morning. And I had the opportunity to visit New York on a trip with one of my cousins, and it was everything that the movies and TV shows made it out to be, and then more. So I decided, at that point I was 22 years old, but I decided that I would go back to school for finance. So I did return to Michigan State University, the Eli Broad College of Business. concentrated on the finance as a major, and decided to go out to New York and trade stocks. So once I graduated from Michigan State in 2003,
Yeah.
I headed out to New York, and I worked for a securities broker dealer for a number of years out there, and was a stock trader.
Nice.
Um, so then when my wife and I were planning to get married, we relocated back here to the region,
Mhm.
and I really didn't have that next step in my career planned. So I got involved in volunteering when I got back here. One of the organizations which I still volunteer at to this day is Allen Neighborhood Center. And back then, it was, when the real estate market had crashed, and I was meeting a lot of people who really had negative experiences with their real estate transactions and the agents that they were working with, and so I decided that I would get my license and try to help these people out. I didn't have any experience in real estate, but I felt like, I could help some of the people I met.
Sure.
And those early years were rough. It was rough in the industry. Everybody was, people were in very tough positions. I sat in more than one closing with people that literally were crying because of the amount of money they had to bring to the table. Um, to be able to sell their home.
Mm.
And there's so much about the industry that I didn't care for. Those early transactions. I worked for a small boutique brokerage that I didn't have a lot of training or direction from that. And I was just trying to, do my best to help the people that were being referred over to me. But then as business started going, as I started getting more transactions under my belt, the referrals started coming in, and I had to really decide what that next step was going to be.
Yeah.
So I did join another brokerage that actually had wonderful training. I was lead of a team there. We were always and ultimately ended up being one of the top producing teams.
Hmm.
But even with that brokerage, I felt like the overall culture, environment that we were working in, there could have been a lot to improve upon. And so that's when we decided to kind of take that next jump
Yep.
to opening my own brokerage.
Yeah.
And so in August of 2016, I opened the doors at the Reotown office
Yep.
of Exit Realty Home Partners.
Yep.
And that was really, kind of how I got to that point. So I just wanted a little bit better control over the environment and the training that was being offered to the agents.
Has the current office for Exit Realty Home Partners always been in its current location, at least the Lansing office, downtown Washington? And can you talk a little bit about, I mean, that's a spectacular building. Anybody's that's seen that building with the startup kind of feel, the exposed beams and the wood and the brick. How did it come about that you guys acquired that building? Talk a little bit about that process.
Yeah, well, we've always been at this building. We were first in a smaller space on the second level.
Okay.
When we first opened up, it was about 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
And we actually just came across that space because one of our contractors also did work for the owner of the building, and it hadn't been advertised at the time, but there were very specific things I was looking for in locating an office. I wanted to make sure that the location was very convenient to be able to service the entire region.
Sure.
In the Greater Lansing Association of Realtors, we cover about 1,800 square miles
Yep.
as our core area. And there's about 37 cities and townships that are kind of the core part of the Greater Lansing area
Yep.
Association of Realtors. And I wanted to make sure it was going to be very efficient to be able to get to all those areas, but also very efficient for agents to attract agents from all those different communities to come work in the office. So there's really two small areas that I was looking at in the region, and And when we came across this one, it just really fit well for what we were looking for. Reeltown has such a significance of what Lansing was built on. The Ransom, Eli Olds, and we overlook the area that the factory it was originally built. There's, the now it's the new Lansing Grand River Assembly plant, but back when I was growing up, it was Plant One. It was the oldest
Yep.
plant in the General Motors lineup back then, but they tore it down in 2002 and built the what's now one of the newer plants in their lineup here, first LEED certified plant, and I just like that historic significance of being right here in the heart of what built Lansing. And it's great to be part of the commercial community along here. Many of the commercial business owners are very passionate about the area, very involved. There's lots of festivals down here and concerts, and it's nice being right on the river trail and have all the little restaurants and bars to be able to frequent as well. So there's a lot that went into kind of this decision making.
Yep.
So yeah, we started off right here. We've moved into the larger spaces that you'll see now when you come and visit our office. But then just this year, we had the opportunity to be able to acquire a couple of fantastic existing exit brokerages to be able to add to our banner here. And so we now have the South Cedar location near Willoughby.
Yep.
And then we have the location on Clinton Street in Grand Ledge, and that really is great to be able to have a wider reach, to be able to make it even more accessible for agents to access those offices, and to be able to be in the heart of the communities that we serve.
Talk just a little bit about the breakdown of the brokerage. How many actual agents do you have there? Transaction team, admin. Can you talk a little bit about the breakdown and give people a clear picture of who's working for us there?
Yeah, sure. We have 55 active agents. They're split almost evenly between the offices that they call home, but it's an open door policy, so
Yep.
people can stop in wherever it's convenient for them. We do have we have three main admin staff that service the brokerage. So we have our compliance manager, and our operations, and then our agent services coordinator. So they're all here servicing the agents, and then I have a couple other staff on my real estate team where we still help clients buy and sell real estate.
Yep.
And that they also sometimes will spill over to help overflow with the brokerage or different needs that we may have.
Sure.
Mhm.
Sure. Talk a little bit about John. Anybody knows you, and I even working with you, I've gotten it as well. You really have that entrepreneurial spirit about you, which I love actually. Can you talk a little bit about what is it about real estate that just energizes you even to this day still? Not talking about what started you in the beginning, but what really just gets you excited about real estate every day? Is it the sales? Is it the deals? Is it the architecture? Is it the people? Is it a combination of all that?
Yes. So there is a combination of all of that. I mean, I've always been a fan of the homes and
Yeah,
the places you reside, the architecture.
yeah,
I actually had thought once upon a time of going into architecture when I was a kid. Although at the time one of my mom's cousins lived around the corner from me. His roommate was an architect, and he told me, don't go into architecture. So I didn't.
yeah, yeah,
But no, I appreciate that. I really appreciate just the historic buildings as well. I love when people do such a great job maintaining and restoring those historic buildings, because I feel like it's really an homage to those who served before us, and thinking about how things were done back then. It's really great to walk into a place that's just been so tastefully maintained, and the challenges with those historic buildings is kind of making sure all their mechanicals and everything are updated. But I love the deals at times. There's I think my most exciting deals are those that are probably not the biggest commissions. Helping somebody who they may be the first one from their family to ever own a home.
Yep.
Or helping those people who never thought that American dream was within reach. Those are the ones that really stick with you, and those oftentimes are not the ones that pay the bills, but they're the most satisfying. But really, at the end of the day, I think what excites me the most is being at the front line of welcoming people into our region. I think that we as realtors play such an important role, people's impression of an area, that we can be such a great resource to introduce them and get them settled. Some people, are coming here because they want to come here, but some people are coming here just because maybe they got transferred in a job, or maybe maybe they are just here to try to get their degree done, but really didn't think about the community aspect of that. They're just focused on going to school and getting their education. So I think being at the front line and helping people plug into the community is such an important part of what we are able to do for our clients. And it really, I mean, when people are choosing their homes, they're not just choosing the house, the structure, they're choosing that community in which they're going to live. So I want people to be able to have have that feeling that they can live, work, and play here. And we'd love to continue to help our region grow and keep people here even past a degree, or maybe past that job transfer if they get settled and decide to be here, and there's other job opportunities here for them. So I think that's the thing that gets me most excited about real estate.
Yep. Question for you. So, I think a lot of times people have a misconception of what a real estate does on a daily basis, let alone a broker. Can you talk a little bit about how your day breaks down? I mean, so we're taking the business of it a little bit. We're breaking it down a little more detail. Talk to the folks about a little bit about how your day starts. What things do you focus on more in the beginning of the day, business wise, maybe in the middle, and then
Mhm.
towards the end?
Yeah, so my days aren't the same. I mean, every single day is going to be a little different, and my days of the week, there's going to be certain things I focus on different days of the week. But generally, I try to get all the business stuff done in the morning. So I generally start my Monday mornings with admin meetings for the brokerage, and then admin meetings for the team. Give everybody marching orders for the week. The rest, and then on Tuesdays in the morning, we always have our weekly agent training or the business meeting. So we're generally prepping for that and getting ready to make sure we've got a great agenda and topics to deliver to the agents on those Tuesdays. But otherwise, the mornings are really reserved for the lead generation and lead follow-up, so that we can make sure that we're able to continue to bring that pipeline of business and agents coming through the door. And then my days will vary in the afternoons. There's closings and inspections and showings and listing appointments. I do a lot on setting up recruit appointments. I've actually got one coming up right after your show here today. And working to fill in any gaps. Our committee meetings. I'm on the MLS committee and the board of directors, and with the Greater Lansing Association of Realtors. I also am the chair of the Allen Neighborhood Center. So that's the nonprofit that I started volunteering at as I returned to the region here. I also chair a municipal authority called the Michigan Avenue Corridor Improvement Authority. So I that's all part of giving back to this community, and being able to serve and share ideas and make connections and try to continuously make those improvements. So there's never a dull moment, and I rely a lot on making sure that I'm blocking my time in my calendar. There's about 6 people that control my calendar, so they can add appointments and shift things around, and so they keep me running very efficiently.
Yeah. That's part of the beauty of being an agent or a broker is no 2 days are alike.
Yeah,
You have to have systems and you have to have your day blocked, but no 2 days are alike, and that's for sure.
right.
That's for
And that's the thing from the broker side of things. There's always stuff that agents that need help with something or issues that come up on file. So, I've always got to make sure that I'm addressing those because, that's the key thing being a broker owner, being able to make sure you're giving support to the agents when they need it.
yep.
And so you've always got to be ready to carve out time to address those issues. Sometimes they're quick answers, but sometimes they can be much more involved. So, making sure that we're addressing all those items in a very timely manner as well.
Let's get a little bit more into the numbers here, John. And we had a brief conversation about this last week. Let's talk for those folks who are interested, whether it be an agent, a broker, or a homeowner looking to sell or buy. Let's talk a little bit about the market here in Lansing. You know, as you did with me, talk to me about the specifics of what folks should take into consideration when they are looking at the market. Is the market up, down, good, bad? Talk a little bit about that if you could right now, at least from
Sure.
a agent or a broker standpoint.
Yeah, so the I would say as far as pricing goes in our region, it's holding steady right now. I know that more than half of the regions that are tracked are showing median sales decline. We are still kind of holding steady as it is. Inventory levels are way up from where our lows were this spring, but year over year, they're still down about 20%.
Okay.
And I know that one of the questions you had for me was whether it was a buyer's market or a seller's market.
Yeah. Mhm.
And even though that there's been a shift and there's definitely been, kind of a softening of the market right now, we're the way that a seller's market versus a buyer's market is measured is basically the months of inventory that's on supply. So if we were to stop listing homes today, how long would it take before we exhausted our supply of homes that are on the market? And as of the end of last month, end of September, we're still only at 1.4 months of inventory on supply. So it's still very much a seller's market. When it flips to a buyer's market is when we're over 6 months of inventory on hand. So we're still quite a ways away from that at this point.
Yep.
But we're not seeing the same frenzy that we saw in the spring, and we're not seeing as many offers. We're still seeing multiple offers, but instead of 15 or 20 offers, we might only have 2 or 4. We're still seeing homes moving.
Yep.
Our median days of market last month were at 10 days on market, which is still really not a lot of time on
Yeah.
market.
Yeah.
So that's that median is up a little bit from not but not very much. From last year. Closed sales were way down from a year ago, September. We closed 480 homes in Greater Lansing Association of Realtors last month. And that was down 26.5% from September of last year. So the number of sales is down. The actual sales volume, because prices are still up, is similar, but the number of sales is down.
Got it. I have heard you in this conversation here, and we're starting to wrap up, John. Talk about yourself individually, but also yourself professionally, being involved in a number of different committees and otherwise. Anybody who knows Exit Realty or Exit Realty Home Partners here in Lansing area knows that's a big thing for you, and that's a big thing that you try to encourage your agents to be part of in the time that I've been there in giving back to the community. Talk a little bit about why you individually, why is that important to you, John? If I've talked to folks at Big B, I've talked to folks that otherwise they're very community oriented, as are you and Exit. Can you talk about why that's important to you?
Well, I guess again, it kind of goes back to what excites me about real estate, being that front line and introducing people to the community. You want to be proud of that community that you're introducing them to,
Right.
and the best way to be able to make that community something that you want to promote is to be part of it. And so I feel that I would like all of our agents to be involved with giving back and being part of these communities that we serve.
Awesome.
And I just think it's such an important component to the profession.
Where do you see Exit Realty Home Partners in the next 3, 4 years, John? Where would you like to see it scale to?
Well, from a sales volume standpoint, I believe that we could be one of the top brokerages in the region.
Yep.
I would love to be at a half million, or I'm sorry, a $500 million dollars in sales annually. I think we have room to grow our agents. So I think that 100 agents would be a nice count. It's essentially about doubling from where we're at now.
Sure.
And I don't see any reason why we can't get there. I think we have the environment that gets people excited about what they do, and we have the training that gets people prepared to be able to serve their clients in a professional capacity. And so, I think that the model that Exit has really ingrains people with a sense of ownership through their sponsorship program. And so I think that, a lot of times when agents come here, they stay here. I mean, Exit nationally has the lowest turnover rate out of any of the major brokerages. So, and I think that's a big part of why that is. So, I think that there is just a great path that's paved for us. And I can't wait to see where we are at in 3 to 4 years.
Perfect. John, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Again, I want to be respectful of your time and your business today. Thank you for coming on, and it was a pleasure.
Well, thanks for having me, Tim. This is doing great.
Uh, we look forward to seeing the good things that Exit's going to be doing in the future. Thank you for your time, and we will talk to you soon.
All right.
Thanks,
Take
John.
care.
You bet.